Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the webinar Bridging the Gap Between Browsing and Buying, brought to you by Styla and FactFinder. Thank you again for joining us, and we would like to keep today's webinar as interactive as possible. We will be doing a couple of polls as we go along, so please do participate in those. And also you will see in the top right-hand corner of your screen a questions box. We would love to get your questions, your comments, your experiences. Please do send them across to us. We will be trying to answer as many questions as possible towards the end of the webinar. And your lines are all on mute, so please do use the questions box to chat to us, to tell us if you've had any similar experiences or if you have any burning questions that you'd like us to answer. So before we jump right in, we are going to be talking a lot today about customer experience, and up front we just want to define what customer experience is and what it means to your customers. So customer experience is the perception and the feeling that a customer has about your brand. Now, this feeling, this perception of your brand is influenced by every touch point that they have with you, right the way from research and inspiration through to the support they receive from you and the purchase and then what happens after. So it's really, really important that these things are paid attention to by the retailer, and that every interaction they have with the customer is meaningful and positive for that customer's experience. So just to introduce ourselves before we get started, my name is Gordon Thompson. I'm an e-commerce solution specialist for FactFinder. FactFinder is Europe's market-leading conversion engine. Now, what we do is we provide optimized search, navigation, merchandising, ranking, and personalization solutions for our customers. And all of these solutions that we provide are powered by our patented artificial intelligence algorithm. And everything is designed to improve the customer experience and the conversion rates for you. So we're going to be talking quite a lot about conversion rates and artificial intelligence and, of course, customer experience today. So hopefully you'll pick up a few tips. Joining me today from our partner Styla is Chris White. Chris, thanks so much for being here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Gordon. So I head up partnerships for Styla. And helping kind of connect the dots between our clients, their agencies, and all the tech in their ecosystem. And Styla are a no-code digital experience platform that empowers the e-commerce and marketing teams to be able to create a wide variety of different content without the need for IT or their agency, and enable them to really scale up their content production. And this means that the e-commerce marketing teams are free to create some really engaging content that drives sales in a really fast and agile way, and hence why we're talking about customer experience today. So why is customer experience so important? We're going to have a look at that. So, well, in an age of big online marketplaces and online businesses need to offer more than just a nice set of products to attract and convert visitors. If you're not thinking about how to engage with shoppers beyond, say, discounting, then you're really going to need to rethink that entire business model. And brands today really need to build a relationship with their customers by offering some valuable content and a really seamless customer journey. If brands can make the customer experience the center of what they do, they will find actually building that loyalty and affinity with their audience much easier in a world of pretty fickle shoppers, if we're honest. And your loyal customers are the best marketing channel. They are the ones that are leaving the most positive feedback. They're spending the most money with you. And they're spreading the love about your actual brand as well. So it's absolutely key that you focus on these people. And we see brands that focus heavily on customer experience, not only smash all the sales metrics, but actually stand out from the crowd with this kind of rich and inspiring creative content where the customer is actually at the center. But what would be really good is to get our listeners' views on this topic. So we're going to run a quick poll and just to kind of see how you all score your own brand's customer experience. So do you want to kick that off, Gordon?
Yeah, so you'll see on your screen appearing in just a second a poll with the question, how would you rate the customer experience provided by your online shops? And you've got some options there that go from absolutely top-notch right the way down to embarrassingly bad. So it'd be great to see what guys think. Chris, there's some interesting statistics around the kind of difference between the brand's perception of their customer experience and the customer's perception. of their experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So Forbes did a survey last year and looked at some specific brands, and 80% of those brands scored themselves as excellent in terms of their customer experience. But the funny bit is when Forbes went back to their customers and actually asked them what they thought of their customer experience, only 8% actually agreed. So there's clearly quite a gap.
8%, God.
Yeah, yeah, from 80. So there's a big divide there, and hopefully I can see a few more people are actually clicking on this. So I think we're going to run it for a couple more seconds. It'd be really good to see your see what you guys are thinking about the brand's customer experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna close the poll just in a couple of seconds. So if you haven't voted, then please do vote. But we've got a pretty good response rate here. So okay, gone, and we'll close that, and we will share the results on screen. So you should see the poll results on screen. Majority of people here saying that it's mediocre or definitely needs work. Nobody's saying it's embarrassingly bad. That's encouraging. But I think most of you, most of you are falling in the sort of mediocre. There's a couple there that think it's pretty good, pretty confident there. That's good.
Yeah.
What do you think of these results?
I'm glad you've been fairly honest there, and I think that the kind of the mediocre and there's definitely room for improvements. Hopefully, we can share with some tips today around how we can kind of improve that. And the next bit we wanted to kind of look at was kind of not all customers are the same. It's pretty obvious, but FactFinder actually did a piece of research on this earlier in the year and looked at these two different buyers. Gordon, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we kind of group these, like every buyer is different, but there are two distinct groups of people that are coming onto your website. You've got the buyers who have intent at one end, and the buyers who are either filled with inspiration or looking for inspiration at the other. Now, the high intent guys, these are your high converters. These are people that are coming onto your website with the intention to purchase. Sorry, I beg your pardon. They are coming on with a purpose. These are the guys that want to see the product quickly. They have defined set of, they've got a defined set of product features that they want to see. They've got something in mind. So they're there to spend money. They could be professionals or regular buyers or someone with a lot of product knowledge. At the other end, you've got the guys with inspiration. You've got these could be people that are on their way home from work on the train and sitting on their phone browsing through your store. So these are the guys who maybe have money to spend, but they need a bit more inspiration. They don't have a specific thing in mind. They don't have as much specificity as the intent guys do. But what it's important to note is that one person can be both type of buyers, because if you're buying for yourself, if you want a new pair of trainers, for example, you know what you want. You have a brand in mind or a specific purpose for the trainers in mind. But if you're buying for someone else, you may want a bit of inspiration. You may want to be guided to a specific on-trend set of products or something for that person. So it's so important to cater to both types of customer.
Absolutely. You can imagine when you're gifting for someone else, it's really important to have that maybe help around some inspiration of what to kind of make for that person.
Yeah, I've definitely been in that situation a few times. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So thanks. So let's take a look at kind of how we can address some of those shoppers that are not looking for something specific and need maybe a bit of inspiration. So 17% of customers browse with the intent to purchase, according to a study done by Episerver last year. So most shoppers don't have a specific product in mind when they're looking for, and they just want some help. Like I mentioned, it could be a gift. They might be updating their wardrobe and looking for a particular style, or they might be looking at sort of renovating a room in the house. So if retailers want to turn those browsers into buyers, then inspirational landing pages is a great place to start. So, because let's face it, scrolling through the endless product grid just isn't that inspirational. And we've all been there. Now, if you can direct shoppers to a bespoke landing page that tells a bit more of a story about a product or a group of products and educate them why they're so great and why you need them in your life, this makes a really memorable kind of first impression. and can really inspire shoppers and help them make that purchase. Also, successful brands are creating content hubs where the landing pages are kind of grouped together and creating essentially a destination for shoppers to go and consume all this great content and encourage them to come back much more often. And what we're seeing is that these brands, they're a trusted resource then from information about what's good. Unfortunately, though, landing pages are often neglected, even though they're an essential part of a successful content strategy. So this presents a massive opportunity for many brands to stand out from the crowd by creating bespoke landing pages that are visually stunning and functional to capture these casual browsers and help them find the right products for them. Also, what we're going to do is a kind of example here. So to create an inspiring landing page, it's really important to engage the visitor with a colorful mix of different content types. So you've got some buying guides in here. We've got lookbooks, video, user-generated content, and style guides that are all shoppable. And with this example, you can see the whole kind of customer journey as you're scrolling through using this mix of different types of content. Firstly, you have the buying guides at the top there and that tell us a bit more of a story about neutral colors and how you can complement your look or style, making the shopper feel much more part of the actual buying process. Then you have these kind of product recommendations that showcase the best sellers. And then they've embedded some really nice branded video to tell shoppers more about the heritage of the brand and provide a much more immersive experience. And you can also see a nice mix of kind of shoppable editorial at the bottom and some other kind of guides and some other user-generated content. And Gordon, what type of content do you find really helpful when you're looking for a bit of inspiration? Maybe when you're gifting?
For me, I think it's always the video content that grabs me, because I find in my own personal customer experience that I'm someone who likes to pick up a product or to be able to get the look and feel of it. And I think that when you're shopping online, a video does that better than anything else. You get to see the size and the scale of the product. You get to see how it looks or how it functions with a real live person doing it. So it's as close as you get to actually touching and feeling the product itself. And it certainly fills me with a bit more confidence if I'm buying something I've never bought before.
Definitely, definitely. And you need to make those products visible, right, Gordon? Kind of leads us on to the next bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is something. If you go to all these lengths and you create fantastic product pages or you create fantastic content, then there's no point in not being able to show it to your customer in a way that they can find it easily. It's relevant to them. And too many online retailers fall prey to this, and they just kind of let products display in the way that the products are displayed. FactFinder can help with this. FactFinder specializes in ranking. So this is one of our features. It allows you to highlight your best sellers, your key products, your on offers or whatever. You can also highlight things that are important to your business strategies. So it could be stuff that's got high margin on it, or it could be things that you've got a lot of stock of. So you know that the customer is going to be able to order it then and there, and it will be delivered next day, or it will be delivered in 2 days, rather than showing them products that are out of stock and are going to take weeks for delivery. You can bury them down at the bottom of the search results and show them the stuff that they can have then and there, or the stuff that's really important to them and relevant to their search. So it's aligning your business goals with delivering a better customer experience, a customer experience that's going to more likely lead to conversion. Now, we've done studies on this actually in conjunction with some of our customers, and what we found is that moving a product from row 8 or below of a search results page up to the first 2 rows has the same effect on that product's sales as discounting it by 21%. So you kind of ask yourself, what would you rather do? Do you take 21% off the price of your product and make less money, or do you just simply move it up so that the customers actually see it when they search for it? I mean, it's a pretty easy answer for me, if you ask me, but all of this is also powered by AI. And I'm going to come back to AI over and over again because AI runs across our algorithm. But if you use AI, you constantly optimize. So you are not only showing customers what they want to see and what you want them to see, but you are showing them what their peer group sees and what their peer group finds important by measuring the amount of times a product is clicked or added to basket or bought, and then adjusting your results to show the really popular items, the real heavy hitters, your hero products are appearing at the top of the search. And that is engaging the customer right from the search results page and providing a much better experience for them.
Thanks, Gordon. And another way brands can engage with shoppers and recommend products is via user-generated content. And do you trust the ad that says this is the most amazing products in the world, or do you trust the recommendation from your friend? And that's why I think social works so well. It's because it's really authentic at the end of the day. So savvy brands like Lush, in this example here, are deploying this kind of authentic content right across the user journey to build that trust and inspire shoppers. And this positive kind of interaction helps retailers foster the types of relationships they want with their audience and really increasing engagement. And a recent survey actually looked at 48% of customers said that UGC is a great way to discover new products. So what I really like with this one is how they've actually repurposed that social content from Instagram, saving a ton of time, effort, and money on photo shoots, and actually leverage that content that they know the audience trusts, and actually embedded that into the e-commerce site. So taking the really best bits of social and putting that back into their e-commerce site. So Gordon, does social influence what you purchase, or have you purchased anything, say, via Instagram?
Well, I haven't yet, because I'll be honest, I always found that there was a disconnect in the customer experience because they didn't have that route to purchase. And now it's suddenly appearing, which is brilliant, because brands are investing more and more in influencer marketing, people with huge followings on online platforms like Instagram or Facebook, and they're promoting products that way. So now that they're linking them really into the actual brand pages themselves, I think it's a huge leap forward.
Yeah, and what's really clever about this example is that they've actually layered the shop systems add to cart functionality here as well, actually in the e-commerce site, so they can monetize this content, not just on Instagram where it's shoppable, but also in their e-commerce site as well. So they're reusing content in a really clever way. And what's also good is they're capturing and using the hashtags from this content to then target those segments again with super relevant content that they know works, and it will hopefully inspire that group and convert at a much higher rate. So by being smart with their content and with their marketing, Lush can really inspire this group of shoppers without investing a lot of money in paid media. And another way to recommend products is by dynamic product recommendations. And this is where you guys play well too. Gordon, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I think this leads in nicely, because I think if you are admitting the fact that recommendations are influencing what people buy, then you need to be applying those principles in your own e-commerce store. This is, again, one of FactFinder's real strengths, is to engage buyers by using recommendations. The stats speak for themselves. These are so important. When your customers are searching for products and then they click on recommendations, it's been shown that they spend on average 10 minutes more on site than those that don't click on a recommendation. And they're also 3.7 times more likely to convert than those who only use search. So they're high converting, they're spending loads of time on your site, and it increases your average order value by 10% or more by having good, relevant, interesting and engaging recommendations for your customer to click through. Salesforce did a really interesting study, Chris, where they monitored the traffic in Cyber Week, and they found that recommendation clicks only accounted for about 5% of on-site clicks during Cyber Week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but those clicks accounted for 30% of the revenue that shops made throughout that Cyber Week period. I mean, that's nearly a third of the revenue made has come from recommendations, so they are so important.
Let's ask the audience quickly. Anyone on there that is using product recommendations, can you hit yes into the chat box, or no, or thinking about it? And just so we can get a bit of a flavour for that. Sorry to jump in there.
No, absolutely. It would be great to find out who's using these types of things. It would be great to explore that in more detail. Obviously, we're a bit limited in time, unfortunately. But it's not just having the recommendations there, they've got to be relevant. And how do you keep them relevant, and how do you make them into really powerful cross-sell and upsell tools where customers are adding more to the basket, or buying higher priced merchandise, or whatever it might be? And the answer there is always going to be to personalize with AI. Artificial intelligence, again, it's your customers give you so much information by what they click on, what they add to basket, what they buy. And by using that information, the AI can save you a whole load of time in doing this yourself, and can adjust your recommendations dynamically based on what it learns. So everything is personalized to the customer based on their clicks and the clicks of their peer group. So it keeps everything extremely contextual for them. And because it's self-learning, the more data that the customers feed it, the better it becomes, and the better the recommendations become. So with FactFinder's self-learning capabilities, you don't have to do much to optimize your recommendations. FactFinder can do it for you, and you keep them relevant, you keep them personalized, and you keep them engaging your customers and improving that customer experience that we're so focused on at the moment.
Perfect. Here's an example from one of our mutual clients, Obi. They're one of Germany's leading home improvement stores. And in this video, you can see the customer knows what they want by looking for some new lighting, but they're unsure what style or type they want, and they want some inspiration. So if we're going, there we go, you can see it.
Yeah, sorry, I managed to get it to work. Sorry.
And here we can see the shopper uses search to look for those products, but rather than they just see sort of some standard product recommendations based off of that keyword, we can also tie in other content types like buying guides, editorial, video content, and help inspire that shopper and help them find the right products. And in this case, FactFinder serves up a trend guide built using Styla, and when the customer is directed to this inspirational page, they get some help on what style works with what type of room and in what type of your home. And the format provides a much more engaging and informative approach that actually shows which lighting style fits in that room and highlights all the great useful features within it as well. And these guys, Gordon, they do a number of different categories using this type of content and your search functionality, right?
Yeah, they do. Obi's a customer of both Styla and FactFinder, and they've done this before. They did this back in, now I think it was April or May, just coming into the summer season, for a page that they created called Grill Inspiration. And what they did was they created a seasonal campaign which was available just as we saw there, right at the bottom of the search suggest function. And again, it had bags of content related to, inspiration for grill parties, even recipes. They had everything, and everything pointed down to, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you're going to need this type of grill, or you're going to need these types of accessories. It was a really wonderful campaign, really colorful, really engaging. And we're going to talk a little bit about the suggest function here, because we saw it there in that video, and we saw just at the bottom of the suggest function, they could link that campaign to it. But I'm going to give you a sort of good and bad example. As you can see here, we've got two major DIY retailers. You've got Obi, who's one of the biggest in Europe, and you've got B&Q, who's undoubtedly the biggest in the UK. Now, in B&Q's page, what we've got is we've typed in grill, and we've got some suggestions for search terms, which is great. But if you look at what Obi does, you can see how much further you can take this and how much more engaging for the customer you can make it. So we've typed in grill again here, and yes, we've got the search terms suggested to us there, but FactFinder provides you the power to then also add in categories. This section called counselor here, where you've got the grill consultant, grill finder, these link to guided selling campaigns where you can ask your customers, okay, what are you looking for? And use dynamic filtering to narrow down results that match exactly their answers. And then right across the middle, you've got product. So you're already showing them what kind of products you offer. You're already showing them the highest rated products in this instance. So you've got 4.5 stars across the board here. So these are products that the customers love. And so therefore they are putting them right up front and center for the customer to say, hey, why don't you check out some of these? So you're engaging the customer. You're letting them know that you have what they're looking for, and B, you're offering them up great content to help them find the inspiration that they need to go and buy these products. So it's just done so well on Obi. I love that example, I have to say. But I think we're going to jump into another survey now, Chris. So we're going to do our second poll, which is how many of these inspirational tactics do you already use on your online shop? So I'm going to make that poll live. So it'd be great to find out what the guys online are actually using out of the tactics that we mentioned there.
Yeah, we're going to run this for another 15, 20 seconds. So guys, get in there, fill this out. It'd be great to get your feedback on this. What's the most important pieces in terms of how do you inspire your customers? And yeah, it's just great to go and get some participation. I can see quite a few votes coming in already. This is really good. Yep. Some really interesting stats already.
Yeah, it is interesting actually. Like, I mean, there's so many tools out there, and there's so many ways that you can try to inspire customers. So it's interesting to see what people are actually doing in a real-time sort of environment, because you know, every web page is different. You know, when you look at it, it's so.
Exactly. And every brand's different as well.
Well, yeah, because everybody's got their own identity that they want to communicate to the customer.
Exactly. Should we share that with the group?
Yep, there's just a couple more. Yep, I think I'm going to close it now, so it's going, and
gone.
There we go. So we'll share those results with you. So we've got quite a lot of people using landing pages, Chris, which is really good to see. But there are only 31% using AI-powered recommendations. So I think there's a few people that are missing out on that you know, the power of that artificial intelligence there.
Yeah, and it's good to see in over sort of nearly 80% of you guys are at least in a good mix of this stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the 20 or 23% of you, we can hopefully inspire you and show you some ways that we can help as well. So
absolutely,
hopefully that's given you some ideas around how to engage with your audience and how you can kind of inspire them to look at different products. Now we're going to change things up a little bit and look at how we can help shoppers that have a specific product or product type in mind. So thanks, Gordon, for running that. Let's kick things off and actually have a look at some of how we can make those products easy to find.
Yes, well, I'm going to come back to the search box again. It's one of the most important elements of your website when we're talking about customers with intent, because it is going to be their first stop on the website. If they already have a product in mind, they are more than likely to be in your search box straight away as soon as they come onto the site. This is one of FactFinder's what we call core features. We start with optimizing your search to make it error tolerant. And I can't stress that enough, because even if somebody knows what they're looking for, they still make typing errors. They're still looking on mobile and get auto-corrected. And if you don't have error-tolerant search that corrects those typing errors and shows them what they intend to see, then you could end up showing them no results pages and turning them off at the first hurdle. So you're sending them off to another competitor to go and find it there. So our error tolerance is very, very sharp, because it actually uses phonetic error tolerance. So it knows how the word is supposed to sound. And so it gives much, much better results. We've seen on the previous page, we use autocomplete and suggest. That's really important as well. That lets customers know that you've got the products they're looking for right from the get-go and allows them to jump into your website. So that's super important as well. We're also language independent. We probably have people online today who are trading across borders. They're trading in multiple countries with multiple languages, with multiple websites, etc. We can handle your search function in any language. That's not a problem for us. So it makes implementing new channels really, really easy. We handle long tail searches right out of the box. So the specific searches that you're going to get from people with intent, they can run to 5, 6 words sometimes. We already handle the long tail searches. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but we use AI to power it. So you can let your search self-optimize. I know I keep coming back to it, but it is so important in this day and age that you give your developers and your marketing guys the power to work on the design of the website or the promotions and stuff like that, and you let things like search optimize itself. And that's where AI comes in, and that's where our algorithm really, really helps people out. But what do you do once you get to a page where you've got the results?
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't find that specific product via search, we often find ourselves looking via a category page or grid with a selection of products that kind of meet some basic requirements. Now, unfortunately, brands often overload you with tons and tons of products at this stage and get the endless scrolling product grid that often actually causes choice paralysis and increases page abandonment. We've all been there where we're just scrolling through and we just kind of get a bit blind to it all. And I think that's highlighted particularly in this use case from one of our customers who sell very similar products. Now, if you don't know exactly what you want or what filters to apply to help get that match, it can often be a fairly disappointing and frustrating experience. Now, in this example here, you can see it's really hard to actually highlight what products are going to be a best fit for my needs. So brands really need to make this category page much more interesting and help educate shoppers so they can increase performance of these pages and drive more sales. And then if we kind of take a step forward, this is the before and after effect here. You can see that the client is now breaking up the category pages with educational content on how the products are made and the heritage about the brand, making it much more digestible and actually really inspiring as well. They inject this video content into the product feed, which shows how the products are manufactured, as well as some really cool sort of interesting facts and statistics as well. Then the content like hotspot shopping shows how the products could be combined and styled to help increase average order value as well. And they also could inject promotional information or user-generated content or any other content type to make that much more engaging experience and help make that purchase. Gordon, I think you're going to share how kind of filters can help in a similar kind of scenario as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really like these examples because I think product search results pages can be quite frustrating. And if you do have a huge list of products for people to choose from, even if they have a fairly specific search term, the chances are they could be coming to you because you're the best at what they do, or you have the best selection of products for them to choose from. So you still have to bear in mind that you've got to give them ways to be able to narrow that down even further. And filters are one of the best ways to do that. Now, we do this, it's called after search navigation. So that's providing filters to customers, but we do a couple of things better than anybody else. One is that we keep our filters dynamic. So we give you the chance to have specific filters for specific product sets, because there's nothing more frustrating than just having the same filters across the whole website, regardless of what products are being displayed. We give you the power to use graphic-based filters, so more engaging stuff. Again, it comes back to what you were saying about breaking up those search pages. Break up your filter lists as well. Don't just have rows and rows of checkboxes. So you can use things like color palette buttons, so they see the color rather than just reading red or black or whatever. You can use sliders to narrow down price ranges or something like that. You can also use charts. You can basically be as creative as you want. So if you're selling clothes, for example, you can use size charts so they can identify if you're selling a European brand. Okay, that's a size 54. So in British terms, that's the size L. So you can use charts to let them select exactly what's important to them and narrow down the search results. But not only that, as your search results narrow, so should your filters. They should respond to what they're saying, but they should never filter down to 0 results. And that's where FactFinder steps in. We will not give you the opportunity to narrow down a search until you get that no results page. Sorry, you went too narrow. Again, it's just the same as having a no results page that pops up when you search for a term. It's a big turn off to your customers, so we avoid that at all costs. And once again, I come back to artificial intelligence. We can use various things to make filters more engaging. Artificial intelligence, I think, is probably my favorite term at the moment. But we also use things like guided selling campaigns, which link to dynamic filtering, but engage the customer, provide a better experience for them by asking them questions. What do you want to see in this product that you're searching for? And then it shows them the results that they have chosen based on your expertise meeting their wants and needs. So it's a really engaging way of selling to them that's more reminiscent of being in an actual physical store. The AI comes in by reordering the filters that are shown on product discovery pages so that the most popular ones, the ones that your customers are using most often, navigate themselves up to the top of the list. And that means they're not having to scroll down to find the filters that are most important to them. They're already up at the top, and you don't have to do anything to influence that. You let the customer influence that. So it adds a lot of value to the product selection process for the customer.
Just makes it easier to find the right products, right? So now
Absolutely.
you've kind of gone, and we've kind of gone through a bit of a user journey here. So now we're kind of taking through the sort of search results. You finally get to the kind of product detail page, and they're almost ready to make that purchase. So it's critical you don't fail at the final hurdle. Make sure your UX and your payment options are really clear and really easy, but also make the page really interesting. Make sure you can actually see the kind of right sort of delivery information. We see by increasing that actual kind of time on page here in the PDP leads to a much higher conversion rate as well. So the shopper is clearly interested in your products. So make sure you do everything you can to convince them of the value of that product and why it's right for them. And a great way to do that is through video and user generated content. As you mentioned earlier, Gordon, it's a way to really kind of immerse yourself and actually see what it's going to look like on, or what it'll look like in your room, or kind of, and bring it to life a bit more. And the UGC element to it is it's authentic. It's a great way to recommend product, and it really helps build trust. And that social proof is a great way of doing that, and it's a way to kind of tell them it's going to be a good fit for the shopper. And another top tip is to add product recommendations and shoppable content, so you can also upsell and increase the average order value here as well. But finally, as I mentioned earlier, make sure your delivery options and your returns policies are really clear and transparent, so they don't have to leave this page to find out that information, and make sure you can help them convert as high as possible.
Yeah, that's a particular pain point for me, I think, is always having to click off the page to find out what the delivery policy is or something like that. If it's on the page, it's just, I'm much more likely just to click, okay, add it to the cart. I can see that it's going to be delivered, etc. It's the same with the information around the product. If it's there, then I don't have to go elsewhere to research it.
That's it. You got to make it as easy as possible for people. And that's one way we can do that, is by enriching that product detail page.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to do the last survey now. So we're just going to ask everybody to show us how many of these tactics they're using in your online shop for shoppers with purchase intent. So it's effectively the same as the last survey, but we're now talking about the guys with intent. So what kind of tactics are you using to appeal to these people who have much more of an idea of what they want to see? They're coming on, they're using search terms, or they're going diving straight into categories, and they're filtering and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, perfect. And again, we can see the numbers now. People participating. Yeah. Run it for maybe a few more seconds. We get some good numbers here in terms of the stats. We're really interested to see how much of you are building a lot of content and how you're using search as well, or if you're just not applying any of these tactics. So let's run it. Couple more seconds.
Couple more seconds. It's just a couple more people. Oh, yep, there's one more. Okay, guys, it's going. And it's gone. So we'll share those results in front of you there. Interesting mix.
Wow.
I am really disappointed after 33% enriched category pages. But I'm really disappointed after mentioning AI about 5,000 times in this presentation. There's only 7% using AI-powered filters. Wow. So,
But
I
a
mean,
lot doing the optimized search, so there's some good bits and some bad bits. But
yeah, I'm
33%
really
of you
pleased.
not doing anything.
Yeah,
Excellent.
33% using none of the above. Wow. Well, get in touch. Now, I'll hide that now. So that's bringing us towards the close of the presentation. We just wanted to tell you a little bit more about the actual results that our customers achieve with Styla and FactFinder. So, Chris, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see some of the stats here. Styla's sort of no-code content platform can help that e-commerce and marketing team essentially create a wide variety of the content that we looked at today. But most importantly, it's about not involving your IT team or an agency, so you can actually enable the teams there to scale up this content production. So if you want to create content and do that at scale and tell your brand story to engage with your audience and implement some of the tactics we've talked about today, my contact details are on the next slide. So do get in touch.
Yeah, and from my side with FactFinder, we've talked an awful lot about some of the features that we offer. However, we are one of the few companies that run a conversion engine that do an all-in-one solution. So the type of functionality that we're talking about is out of the box that we've spoken about in this presentation. However, we do so much more with personalization. We do so much more with guided selling campaigns. And our customers have seen an enormous increase in conversion. In some instances, you've got 170% increase in conversion rate. Everything that we do is fully optimized for mobile as well, which is becoming so important these days. So we've seen stores have 119% mobile sales conversion rate increase, which is just, is incredible. And we pride ourselves on helping to link up an omni-channel experience as well. So we can link up stores to your online store to bring that in-store experience online and to give people geo results so that they are able to see that the product's in stock in their local store or that it can be delivered from their local store, etc. So we really do unify the customer experience and make it much easier and much more enjoyable for your customers to shop with you. So I think we're going to move on and take some questions. Now, I'm just looking through the questions that I've got here, Chris, now. Okay, so there's an interesting one I think that would be good for you to handle. So they've been asked, isn't it enough to just have a blog on site which is updated regularly?
Yeah, good question. I think that's traditionally where a lot of retailers would have a lot of their inspirational content would be in the blog. There's typically a couple problems with that. Maybe only 5 to 10% of your traffic actually goes to the blog for a start. But more importantly, it's really hard for brands to leverage some of the functionality that you got in your e-commerce site, i.e. the add to cart piece as well. So you go and inspire that customer to buy that outfit or that product in your blog. These are often non-transactional. So you then need to direct them back to a page within your site, and they've got to go and find the product back in the e-commerce site. So it's really disjointed customer experience. So today's really all about how you can kind of do all of that storytelling that you would have in your blog, but do it in the e-commerce site where you can leverage the kind of add to cart functionality and really drive the sales off that inspirational content.
Yeah, definitely. I think if people are looking at your products, the last thing you want to do is to take them away to try and find out more. Keep them on that page, get the results reflecting the content as well as the actual products themselves.
Yeah, exactly that. We got time for another couple questions?
I think we're a little bit over time, but I think we could maybe do one more. Now, let me see. Okay, so how do you deal with no results pages? I think I'll take that one. So no results pages, yes, they are. They're a curse for an online retailer because they are one of the biggest factors that turns people off. What FactFinder does is it optimizes your search so that it is much, much less likely that you are going to get a search term that leads to a no results page from a customer. So even if it's badly spelled, it will be corrected by our algorithm. You can also link terms in our preprocessor, our thesaurus. So, for example, you can link notebook to laptop if you're an online computer store, so that anyone that types in notebook or anyone that types in laptop, they're definitely going to see the results. But the other way that you can avoid it is by setting up redirect pages. So if it does boil down to, no, I'm sorry, there are no results, we cannot find anything for that search term, then you can have a redirect page which shows them maybe your best sellers or directs them to some good content. You're keeping the customer engaged. You're not just turning them away again at the first hurdle. You're keeping them engaged with other products they might like, with content that they might be interested in, with campaigns that you might be running. All of that good stuff you can put into redirect pages rather than just saying, sorry, we don't have what you're looking for, which is effectively what a no results page does. So we've got numerous options that you can use to get around that.
Perfect.
I'd say I think we're probably out of time. We do have a few more questions coming through, but I'm going to suggest that maybe we get back to everybody individually after the webinar, so by phone or by email. And if you do have questions that you didn't have time to submit, our contact details are right in front of you, so please do get in touch. Thank you to everyone for your questions, your attention, your participation in all the surveys, and for just attending here today. We really enjoy having you all on the webinar. As I said, contact details are there. Please do get in touch if you've got questions about FactFinder or about anything we've spoken about here today. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Gordon, and thank you all for joining us today. Have a great week.
Thanks again, Chris. Take it easy.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.